Go ahead and close your eyes. Allow your shoulders to relax away from your ears. Allow the muscles in your face to droop down. Unclench your jaw. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale. Go ahead and open up your eyes. Hello and welcome to Mindful Moves. My name is Dan and I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for showing up for yourself today, and I'm always happy to have you. I shared in the previous episode a lot about the body image, and in general this month has been a bit more about self-love, and we've been implementing our regulation tool, our nervous system regulation tool of movement, and I would love to hear how it's going for everybody and how everybody feels. I know that it just brings me so much clarity, and my day needs to start with it now, whereas before, it was a burden, and now it's so warmly invited in. So whatever your movement is, I hope you fully enjoy it. I want to just touch on a point that really came up for me actually after recording the previous episode. I spoke a lot about the body and how we perceive it and our personal struggles through that process. And something I want to speak about today is the gratitude that develops when you start treating your body as your best friend. So much of what we get taught is to go to war with your body, and you need to get it in shape, and you need to, follow certain standards. And I'm here to say that that might be the case for some people, but it doesn't have to be your reality. And I have developed this deep, deep sense of gratitude, and I have a lot of gratitude in my life. I feel very blessed, and I make sure to really focus on what's going well for me. And obviously, I'm not one of those people who's like, don't feel your feelings and everything is sunshine. It's not. Obviously, on the days you need to feel your feels, you feel them. But I've really shifted my mindset in a way that I am able to acknowledge the good, whereas before my brain would actively seek out everything that's going wrong. And I'm in a place now where I can really look at life and see the silver lining. And if that's not something that comes naturally to you, just know that that's okay. And we get taught that. We get taught that we should be looking out and what's going to go wrong and what is already wrong in my life. Our brain likes to look at the threats and what's a negative. And once we retrain our brain, which is totally possible, as you would know by now, you just start to seek out the information that you want to look at. It's the same as, I'm sure you've heard this example of, if you are thinking about a red car and you picture the red car, you start seeing red cars everywhere. It's the same with thoughts. Changing your thoughts to focus on something positive or the positives in your life is a game changer. And it really just happens through practice. Even if you feel silly doing it at first, it's practice, like anything in life. I don't know why they haven't taught us that, like learning a bicycle and getting a positive mindset is the same thing. So many of us give up so easily because we don't see the goal. We don't see the end goal. And it's actually the best place to be honest. When your brain is actively seeking out happy, good, positive stimulus, it's really a beautiful feeling. So I wanted to touch on that specifically with your body and the gratitude that you can develop for yourself, because I've developed it, and I'm not the only person or the first. There are many people who have embraced their body, love their body, appreciate it for what it is. And so I'm here to share with you a few things that I do just to start cultivating and nurturing that gratitude. I have a few tips and tricks for you. I have a picture of myself when I was a kid. So I think in this picture, I'm about 4 or 5, maybe 6. And I've been taking a really nice photo, and I'm smiling and I'm happy and I'm really just glowing. There's times in your childhood where everything just seems so carefree and good. Obviously, that's not everybody's reality, but that specific picture of mine, that's in that moment, that's what I felt. And I like to read. It depends what you do. If you don't read, that's fine. You can still keep this picture close by or somewhere that you'd see it every day. And I keep it as a bookmark in my book. And there are many days where and this is one thing that people don't know, or maybe they think it goes away. You are susceptible to still being self-critical. It's not just going to fly out the window, but you're able to navigate it better with these tools of learning to appreciate your body. And there are days where maybe I've had a tough day. I'm going to bed. I like to read before bed. So I'm reading and I'll see my little bookmark of myself when I was that age. And it's a great reminder of that your inner child is with you and they go with you wherever you go. And just because you've grown into an adult body doesn't mean that she or he has lost wanting to be heard and seen. So that's a great reminder of how gratitude for your younger self, for bringing you to where you are now, can really just flood in your heart if you can see that more often. I feel like sometimes, how often do you look at baby photos? Not that often. I think we're so in, the role of life, and we look at what we did last night or what we did the last holiday, but that's a nice little trick that I love to do, and keep it somewhere where you can see. It doesn't have to, if you don't read a book, that's okay. Maybe you keep a diary, put it in there. Maybe you just don't have any of that and you keep it on your work desk, or you keep the picture where you brush your teeth, whatever it may be. And I know that these little things sometimes sound silly, but it's such a affirming thing to do, and usually it's the smallest things that help cultivate change and in your mindset. So you are much less likely to be mean to a little child than you are to an adult. So do that with yourself. It's very unlikely, unless you, I don't know, have a very bad temper, are going to just shout at a child for whatever they're feeling sad or down. So why do we do that to ourselves? We don't treat ourselves with that kindness and that softness. And in those moments that we're feeling down on ourselves and not feeling good enough, it's so important to actually hold space for that and make sure that we are coming in with soft emotions, love, holding space, gratitude, listening, what's coming up for you. And so often we meet it with, in my personal, perspective, and a lot of people around me meet them with like a hectic energy of why are you doing this? Why are you feeling like this? Get over it. That was a long time ago. Who cares? And it's not fair. It's really not fair to your body. So I really recommend to keep that close by. Keep a picture of yourself close by. It really shifts something in you. And yeah, just try it and let me know. The second thing that I always do and recommend is just cultivating. If you don't have a natural draw to being grateful, especially for something like your body, there is ways to learn it. And it's by actively seeking out what your body is doing great. And I think so often we just look at the physical form and we want to change it or look different. And maybe we think we're ugly or overweight or whatever it may be. And so many want to shift that, but it takes being happy with where you're at right now and what you look like, because we're just made up of energy. This is the physical form that you have, and you're going to have this physical form probably for the rest of the time. So what about cultivating a positive relationship with your physical form? This has been a big game changer to me. And instead of constantly having to fight myself, learning to embrace myself, learning to embrace exactly who I am, what I look like, and all of these things. And one of the best tips is to cultivate a form of gratitude. Now, I'm not saying you have to look at yourself in the mirror for 100 hours and say all the best parts, but take some time when your body does something like very simple. When you wake up in the morning and you get up and you're able to walk somewhere, or the fact that your eyes opened up, or the fact that you can hear, or the fact that you can feel your bed, like all of your senses, the fact that you have all of this availability to you. And obviously every person is different in their abilities, but the point is more to really, really tap into what your body does well. Did it digest your food for you today? Wow. Did you feel that brush of wind going past you? Amazing. Did you feel the warm sun on your skin? Did you hear the birds outside? So often we run past these tiny moments and they honestly make up everything. We forget what our body was designed to do, and that was to keep us alive and keep us here. And having a human experience is having a physical form. And you have an option. You have your option. You can decide. I, for a long time, was stuck in the mindset of, I'm never going to look good enough. I never feel good enough. And yeah, I just can't do what other people do. And I wish I had this or that of that person. But it's so draining, and you'll know what I'm talking about if you've felt it before. It's exhausting. It's so tiring and exhausting to constantly compare yourself to somebody else. Comparison is really, every time you compare yourself to another person, you're taking time off your life. And when you realize that, that changes very quickly. And I really hope that through gratitude, you're able to realize just how much you do have. Now, I'm not saying you have to just do this with the body. I like to do this because it's my area of work, but I highly recommend an attitude of gratitude. And I know that sounds funny, but I really, really advise it because it brings so much to your life. Do you know how nice it is to be filled with gratitude when you're sitting and you're just looking out into the world? It also takes, on the other side, which I'll speak about it another time, it takes having an attention span that can do that and being able to slow down. And this is why we are trying to shift our mindset, cultivate regulation tools. We just want to ultimately, I want us to become comfortable with being in the present moment. So much of the time we are running from that. We are so busy or we are preoccupied. And I think it's so important, this podcast, for example, and this, how I've recorded this, we start off with mindfulness. I'm not going to have music in my episodes. I'm not going to have sound effects. I'm not going to have crazy visuals moving. I really wanted this to feel calm. And it's difficult for some. It's difficult to just sit and to be present with somebody or something. And I think the sooner that we nurture that, the better. And a lot of it stems out of gratitude. A lot of it can start. I use the body as an example because I think a lot of people struggle with that, with comparison in general. But if you compare your life to other people in other parts, cultivate gratitude in those parts. This is just an example. I'm using this one especially because we are focused on movement for this month. And being able to move is such a gift. I never used to see it as that. And that's why I'm so passionate about it now, because so many of the people I still speak to still feel like that. And it can be hard to unlearn, but so rewarding. So take a moment. Where in your life do you feel you want to place more gratitude? And understand that it's up to you. It's up to you to cultivate that. Nobody else is going to give it to you. But it's one of those things that once you start growing that mindset of gratitude, it is one of the most fulfilling things, because you can be sitting literally doing nothing and be so happy because the sun came out and it's shining through your window and it's warming up your body, and you'll be so happy because of the sunshine. And having that, honestly, it's priceless and it can't be bought. This is the one thing. It really, having a mental set of tools, and this is what we're trying to cultivate through this time, is priceless. You cannot buy that. People can buy a lot of things nowadays, really, but cultivating that and having that is a huge gift, and you just can't get it without putting yourself through it first. So I really, really suggest taking the time, if you can, have a picture of yourself. It's much less likely that you will treat a child as harshly as you treat yourself right now, and develop your own sense of a gratitude practice, whatever it may be, whether you say thank you in the morning to yourself and that's it, or you write down your favorite things of the day, whatever it may be. I urge you to take the time to really, really focus on this and understand that it's really life-changing. Try it for yourself, see how it works out, and remember that the light that you're constantly seeking on the outside is just waiting to be acknowledged within. Thank you for being here. As always, I am so excited that you're here and happy to see you next week. Have a beautiful day.